Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Real Life Keto Radio. I'm Rebecca and I'm here with my friend Bridget. And we are going to talk about one of our favorite topics today because fat is where it's at.
Yes.
She was going to add something very profound.
I was going to, and then I was thinking about, I decided it was not appropriate. So, yeah.
Oh, I should have to save that for later.
We just started doing this live. And so usually Rebecca can edit out my brain farts that I have sometimes.
But it will be all the more interesting for you all, our listeners, because it's just fresh and raw.
It's hashtag real life keto.
Yeah, but fat is a very controversial topic. And so we've gotten some questions from our listeners about how to incorporate healthy fat into their lifestyle, why they want to do that, how does that relate to their carbs and their protein, what kind of fats are good, like all the fat questions. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes. So we have these written out that we're going to be going by, but also if you are watching this live and you want to send questions in about fat specifically and how it relates to the keto diet, then we will answer those as they pop up.
Yeah. So just kind of to set the stage, the keto diet and lifestyle is really unique in that it is focused around incorporating healthy fats into your diet on purpose. Now that might strike terror in your heart if you grew up like I did, thinking that fat made you fat. But we're on a mission to explain that that's not the case. We've really been misled, and we tend to, especially as Americans, fill up on a lot of carbs, which don't keep us full for very long, which can really increase inflammation in the body and have a whole host of other unwanted effects. The least of which is not, does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, one of the things it does that we don't like is that it makes us more hungry for more carbs. That's probably one of the more damaging effects because if you feel constantly hungry, you wake up hungry, you go to bed hungry, an hour after you eat, you're hungry, it might be because you're eating carbs instead of fat.
Right. And a little side note. So we have had a really intense summer and my eating has not been what it should as a KETO-SIsta and a voice advocating keto. That's how I'll say. I'm not going to waller in what I have eaten and what it has been like. Those who are following me know that we have had a couple moves and a couple really big trips and just a whole lot happening in our world. And I knew that I was eating more carbs than I would traditionally. And man, I felt it because I was thinking about food all the time. I was not wanting to do my intermittent fasting, which is just like a staple in what I do normally. And it just starts this slippery slope where I'm all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, I want to eat at 10 o'clock at night, which is not normal for me, or at 10 o'clock in the morning, also not normal. So I'm super thankful that we are winding down our summer and I am back on track. And it's funny. So it's 3 o'clock here. And right before we got on, Rebecca said, oh, wait, have I eaten today? She's like, I think I'm starting to get hungry. And I was like, you know what? Right before I came, I thought, oh, I should probably eat before the radio show. But that's where we normally stay because we do the keto lifestyle. And so we are not thinking about food all the time. We don't have that constant desire for carbs like so many traditional, people who eat the traditional American diet, the way that they are fueled.
Yeah. Maybe you could share with our listeners, Bridget, what is the acronym for the traditional American diet or the standard
American diet? If you think about that, SAD, it's sad. And I'll tell you, the summer it's so great. I love summertime and getting to visit with people and just love family time. But it is incredible when you spend time with people who are eating the standard American diet, just how carb heavy what they eat is. Little interesting story. So my 20-year-old, this summer, he worked at camp about 5 weeks. And, in our house, we just don't really have bread and pasta. Like I have celiac, so we have even less.
They literally don't.
Yeah, like it's just something that we don't have. And then he goes to camp and he came home after 2 weeks straight and he said, my goodness, I cannot believe the carbs. Which coming from a 20-year-old with a pretty typical 20-year-old guy diet, he said, I do not feel good at all because he had been eating all of those carbs. He's like, Mom, they have like pasta for dinner, they have soda to drink, and they have bread to go with their pasta. And then cookies for dessert. He's like, it's all carbs. And I feel terrible. So actually the 5th week of camp, he brought some of his own food, which I
Nice.
know it's like, okay, it's going to be okay.
It's
With
sinking
my
in
kids,
whether
yeah.
they want to accept it or not. Like they hear us, they see us, and it's powerful when they get that recognition.
Right.
Because mom can say it all she wants, right? But when they live it and then they make that connection themselves, they're like, oh, daggone it, mom was right.
Yeah. And like he just realized he wasn't feeling well, and he made the connection between that and his food. Anyway, I digress. But I am more aware of what people traditionally eat because I spend, just time with different groups of people and watch what they eat. So anyway, all of that to say, if you are new to this and you still are feeling that just kind of control with food, feeling like you are controlled by food, or you just still don't feel good. I suspect it's probably because you're eating more carbs than you should. And so when we do our challenge, that's always the first week. For those that don't know, we have a 21-day challenge that people take where we guide them through. The first week is low carb. The second week is high fat. The third week is really getting into the nitty gritty of the macros. But starting to eliminate the carbs is the most important thing. But we are going to get to the point, which is the middle week. We talk about high fat and what that looks like to bring fat into your diet, because it is so different than what people traditionally eat. That was the point of the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, because we want you to realize that fat is actually your friend. And that can be a huge mind shift. It was for me when I first started investigating the keto lifestyle. And I was reading about people intentionally putting fat in their diet. I'm like, wait a minute. I moved from whole milk to 2% to 1% to skim. I've gone low fat with all of my, cheeses and dairies and yogurts. And like, why did I do that? Because they told me to. And, how's that worked out for most Americans? As a society, as a country, I feel like we're heavier than ever, or sicker than ever. We have so many metabolic diseases and conditions, and we're not medical experts. We're not doctors or anything. We're just talking about our personal experience, but we've lived it. We've changed our diet, and, by incorporating fat, we aren't controlled by our cravings anymore and by constant hunger. So let's get down to the questions.
All right. So, and then will you be watching if people have them posted up there?
I will.
Okay. So first one, and this is a very typical one that people first have when they're just starting to transition to adding in healthy fats. I'm having a hard time hitting my fat goal. What am I doing wrong? What do I need to do to improve this? And let me just kind of state for those that are new, listening or watching this, talking about your fat goal, to do the keto diet, what you are shooting for is to have, I haven't said this in a while,
Yeah.
and we're live. You want to have 70% of the calories that you take in be in the form of fat, 25% be in the form of protein, and only 5% be carbs. So trying to get that much fat in is a challenge at first. So Rebecca, what are some of the things that you do to bring healthy fats into your life?
Yeah, well, one thing that's like a keto lifestyle person's best friend can be MCT oil or coconut oil. Those are things that are pretty versatile and pretty easy to get into your lifestyle. Now, for me, I'm on the go a lot, just like Bridget is. We're pretty busy, and I'm not super picky about things. Like, I want to fuel my body in a way that fuels my lifestyle. And so I just literally keep coconut oil on my kitchen counter. I get the refined kind because I don't like the coconutty taste, even though I like coconuts. I know that's weird. And so I'll just walk by, and if I know I'm going to be out and about, I just take a spoonful and I just eat it. Now, if that grosses you out, maybe that's not the step for you, but that's just a really easy, fast way to know that I'm feeding my brain and I'm going to keep my hunger and my appetite at bay, and I'm giving my body what it needs. But you can use coconut oil and MCT oil. You can saute vegetables. You can scramble your eggs in it. You can use it as a salad dressing. There's so many ways you can incorporate it into quote unquote normal foods. So you're not the freak that walks by and just takes a spoon of the coconut oil into her mouth.
We're trying not to be freaks. So like yesterday, I didn't eat till, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock. And I was like, all right, I'm hungry. I'm going to eat. And so I had sausage and eggs, and I cooked the eggs in coconut oil. And I do the unrefined just because it does have a little bit of better health benefits. And I like the taste. And then I had avocado. My trusty go-to is avocado. So I had just avocado that I just cut up and put with it. And then my husband is doing a garden. And so I had some squash, and I cooked that in the sausage grease to just get a little more fat in. And then that's what I ate. And then of course I was well fueled and good to go for hours. Also, I will sometimes just, if I do a smoothie, I love unsweetened almond milk. And then I just put liquid MCT oil that I squeeze in there just to help get some of the extra fat, with like peanut butter or something like that. So those are kind of my go-to easy ways to get the healthy fats in.
Yeah. And another way that a lot of people like to start their mornings is with a fat coffee or a fat tea. And when we say fat coffee or fat tea, that just means coffee or tea that you would normally drink, but you're intentionally putting healthy fats into it. So you can use MCT oil, coconut oil, heavy cream if you do dairy, and that will just make that drink and then turn it into like a super fuel for your brain and to keep your hunger and appetite at bay. So a lot of people like to use that to sort of push their window until they like eat their first meal. That helps them do that, wait a little bit longer to eat that without feeling hungry and without getting hangry.
It's interesting. I'm thinking back to over 5 years ago when Rebecca first started telling me, we both got started by drinking exogenous ketones, which gives you the benefits of the keto lifestyle before you actually make a change in what you're eating. And that's how we both got started. And I remember Rebecca was so excited about the science of what the keto lifestyle and what ketones can do for your brain. And I remember her like calling me literally 30 minutes without taking a breath. I feel like
total word vomit with like lots of science, like an encyclopedia entry.
Yes, but she was so excited about what being in ketosis, what that will do for your brain. And she kept talking to me about brain health. And I was like, what is happening to my weird friend? Like, I honestly, to that point, had never thought about what was happening in my brain. I'd never thought about trying to make my brain be healthy, which is pretty ridiculous. I do have Alzheimer's in my family. And I just, it's like, I was in my 30s and I just thought like I was just going to have an active brain forever. I don't know what I was thinking, but I just remember the passion that Rebecca brought, saying this will actually help with your brain health. And I now have several people who have joined me in this community who do it primarily for the brain health reasons, not even thinking about the energy and the sleep and what it does physically to your body that you can visibly see. But the brain health alone is so powerful.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, Bridget, because a lot of people are attracted to the keto lifestyle because they've seen someone have extreme fat loss, and a lot of people want that, which that can be a good thing. If you're overweight, yes, of course, we want you to get to a healthy weight. But like when I did dive into the science, I was like, oh, my daughters need this. Mm-hmm. Well, my daughters are in their 20s. They're very slender. They're very active. They do not need to lose any fat. But I wanted them to have that for their brain health. Like many families, my family also has Alzheimer's and dementia. And so I just wanted to start them at an earlier age, protecting and preserving their brain capacity and their brain health. Mm-hmm. And so even though they're too young to maybe notice what the carb intake could do to their bodies and to their brains, I wanted to start, just instilling those habits of getting some extra healthy fat in there for their brains.
Well, this is ridiculous to announce, but we have answered exactly one question. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I've got a whole list of questions that have been sent in for us to answer, and we have answered one in the first half of the radio show.
Hey, at least we're doing very thorough, complete answers.
Yes. So we need to take a break, station identification break, and we will be back we're going to make it a goal to answer at least 2 more questions in the second half.
Big dreams. We'll be right back.
Yep.